What is it now? Haven't Grey Wardens asked more than enough of the Circle?
I simply came to deliver a message from the revered mother, Sir Mage. She desires your presence.
What her reverence desires is of no concern to me. I am busy helping the Grey Wardens, by the King's orders, I might add.
Should I have asked her to write a note?
Tell her I will not be harassed in this manner.
Yes, I was harassing you by delivering a message.
Your glibness does you no credit.
Here I thought we were getting along so well. I was even going to name one of my children after you. The Grumpy One.
Enough. I will speak to the woman if I must. Get out of my way, fool.
You know, one good thing about the Blight is how it brings people together. You're not the first to tell me that. Wait, we haven't met, have we? I don't suppose you happen to be another mage? Hardly. I just like to know my chances of being turned into a toad at any given moment. Wait, I do know who you are. You're Duncan's new recruit from the Circle of Magi. I should have recognized you right away. I apologize. Good. You didn't exactly catch me at my finest with the mage there. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Alistair, the new Grey Warden. Though I guess you knew that. As the junior member of the Order, I'll be accompanying you when you prepare for the joining. Right, that was the name. You know, it just occurred to me that there have never been many women in the Grey Wardens. I wonder why that is. I'm getting that impression. So I'm curious, have you ever actually encountered darkspawn before? When I fought my first one, I wasn't prepared for how monstrous it was. I can't say I'm looking forward to encountering another. Anyhow, whenever you're ready, let's get back to Duncan. I imagine he's eager to get things started. With the mage, the Circle is here at the King's request, and the Chantry doesn't like that one bit. They just love letting mages know how unwelcome they are. Which puts me in a bit of an awkward position. I was once a Templar. Not that that's all Templars do, but yes, the Chantry raised me until Duncan recruited me 6 months ago. I'm sure the revered mother meant it as an insult, sending me as her messenger, and the mage picked right up on that. I never would have agreed to deliver it, but Duncan says we're all to cooperate and get along. Apparently they didn't get the same speech. You do? Huh, that's a switch. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, lead on. Yes? As I said, I was trained as a Templar before Duncan recruited me about 6 months ago. The Chantry raised me, and becoming a Templar was a decision made for me a long time ago. Duncan saw I wasn't happy, and figured my training against mages could double for fighting darkspawn. Now, here I stand, a proud Grey Warden. The Grand Cleric wouldn't have let me go if Duncan never forced the issue. I'll always be grateful to him. It just wasn't for me. I believe in the Maker well enough, but I never wanted to devote my life to the Chantry. I spent years in that Chantry, hopelessly resigned to my fate. Duncan was the first person who cared what I wanted. He risked a lot of trouble with the Grand Cleric to help me. What about? So I imagine, what would you like to know? The Grey Wardens are warriors without equal. Darkspawn threatened to destroy the world 4 times over. Each time, the Grey Wardens led mankind to victory. Nobody knows more about Darkspawn, and nobody's better equipped to deal with them. You'll see. Trust me. I don't know if I'd go that far. Duncan says the Grey Wardens do whatever is necessary to protect mankind from Darkspawn. That means some pretty extreme things. Whatever it takes to bring victory. Well, let's see. Surely you've heard of Weishaupt Fortress? The great eyrie carved into the White Cliffs, far off in the Neanderthals? That's where the Grey Wardens once kept their griffins. The griffins died out, however, and our numbers have dwindled since the last blight. There's only a handful left in Ferelden, a few more in other nations. The others are camped with the King's soldiers in the valley. The king's given us a position of honor at the vanguard, despite our small numbers. I think Cailan is actually excited to ride into battle with us. Maybe he thinks that's what his father would have done. King Marek, Cailan's father, reaffirmed the power the Grey Wardens were given during the Blights. In practice, we can't conscript too often without hurting our cause. We were exiled from Ferelden once. Best not to let that happen again. You want to ask me about something else? Of course. You want the Chantry's version or the truth? They seldom are. The truth is, we don't really know. They come up from the ground, and that's as far as we've gotten. Yes, and it nearly wiped us out. When defeated, the darkspawn flee back underground and seek out another old god to taint, thus bringing another blight. We haven't seen it yet. People are beginning to think this is just an unusually large darkspawn raid without an archdemon to unify them. But seriously, the archdemon could be in the wilds or underground. It could be hiding. Just because it hasn't shown itself doesn't mean it isn't out there. They've controlled the deep roads ever since they defeated the Dwarven kingdoms. Even if we invaded, we can only chase them so far. The old gods were dragons, so the stories say. Big ones. Intelligent, even. The Tevinter Empire had big statues of them. Each dragon had a name and a place in the cosmos. It's all very intricate. The archdemons may not be the old gods, but they're definitely dragons. Of course. We chop off the snake's head. It's the only way. According to texts, the most famous Grey Warden leader, Garahel, killed the archdemon under Arl in personal combat at the Battle of Aisley to end the last blight. Without the archdemon to command them, the darkspawn flee back underground. The Grey Wardens keep watch. We feel the darkspawn when they come. You'll understand after the joining, if you... well, you'll understand. Not to mention people start to notice when darkspawn pour out of the wilds and taint everything around them. Just a guess. Thousands, tens of thousands. They've had centuries to build up their numbers. You want to ask me about something else? Duncan is the leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden, which he would say doesn't mean much, as there aren't many of us here. Yet. Beyond that, he's a good man. A good judge of character. I owe him a lot. What about you? What do you think of him? Fair enough. He's done the best he can with what little he has. And that includes me, I guess. You want to ask me about something else? I wish I could tell you more. Maybe ask me again after Duncan speaks to you about it. You want to ask me about something else? The one tomorrow. I'll tell you, it's Tairn Loghain we should be looking to win it, not the king. Cailan just wants his place in history. The Tairn is planning the strategy. That's my opinion, anyway. I guess I should be thankful the king favors us Grey Wardens. But I know who's keeping the lid on the pond. We're at the edge of the Korcari Wilds, the eye of the Blight Storm, right where the Horde will be coming. Ostagar itself is an excellent defensive position. The Wilders were pushed back from here time and again in ancient days. I'm sure Tairn Loghain has the battle planned to the last detail. Still, no Blight has ever been defeated with so little cost. If we don't break the Horde here, Duncan says it will spread until it engulfs all of Ferelden. Then it will take an alliance of nations to fight it. Which would be bad. Neither the king nor the Tairn really seems to believe this is a real blight, however. You want to ask me about something else? Then let's get a move on, shall we?
You found Alistair, did you? Good. I'll assume you're ready to begin preparations. Assuming, of course, that you're quite finished riling up mages, Alistair.
What can I say? The revered mother ambushed me. The way she wields guild, they should stick her in the army.
She forced you to sass the mage, did she? We cannot afford to antagonize anyone, Alistair. We don't need to give anyone more ammunition against us.
You're right, Duncan. I apologize.
Now then, since you're all here, we can begin. You four will be heading into the Korcari Wilds to perform 2 tasks. The first is to obtain 3 vials of darkspawn blood, 1 for each recruit. For the joining itself, I'll explain more once you've returned. There was once a Grey Warden archive in the wilds, abandoned long ago when we could no longer afford to maintain such remote outposts. It has recently come to our attention that some scrolls have been left behind, magically sealed to protect them. Alistair, I want you to retrieve these scrolls if you can. Old treaties, if you're curious. Promises of support made to the Grey Wardens long ago. They were once considered only formalities. With so many having forgotten their commitments to us, I suspect it may be a good idea to have something to remind them with. No, but the effort must be made. I have every confidence you are up to the task. It will be an overgrown ruin by now, but the sealed chest should remain intact. Alistair will guide you to the area you need to search. It's possible the scrolls may have been destroyed or even stolen, though the seal's magic should have protected them. Only a Grey Warden can break such a seal.
I don't understand. Why leave such things in a ruin if they're so valuable?
It was assumed that we would someday return. A great many things were assumed that have not held true. Watch over your charges, Alistair. Return quickly and safely.
We will.
Then may the Maker watch over your path. I will see you when you return.
We need to get down to the wilds. The sooner you get this done, the better. Trust me. What about? There's not a lot I can tell you. We go and collect darkspawn blood, and then you'll hear everything. Look, I can't tell you much, all right? The joining is very unpleasant. I wish I could forget it, but I can't. I don't envy what you're going to have to go through. That's the spirit. If becoming a Grey Warden were easy, we wouldn't recruit the best. You want to ask me about something else? Then let's get a move on, shall we?
Who is that? Grey Wardens?
Well, he's not half as dead as he looks, is he?
My scouting band was attacked by darkspawn. They came out of the ground. Please help me. I've got to return to camp. If you just bandage me up, I can get back myself.
I have bandages in my pack.
Thank you. I've got to get out of here.
Did you hear? An entire patrol of seasoned men killed by darkspawn.
Calm down, Sir Jory. We'll be fine if we're careful.
Those soldiers were careful, and they were still overwhelmed. How many darkspawn can the 4 of us slay? 12? 100? There's an entire army in these forests.
There are darkspawn about, but we're in no danger of walking into the bulk of the horde.
How do you know? I'm not a coward, but this is foolish and reckless. We should go back. That's true.
Know this. All Grey Wardens can sense darkspawn. Whatever their cunning, I guarantee they won't take us by surprise. That's why I'm here.
You see, Sir Knight, we might die, but we'll be warned about it first.
That is reassuring.
That doesn't mean I'm here to make this easy, however. So let's get a move on.
Well, well. What have we here? Are you a vulture, I wonder? A scavenger, poking amidst a corpse whose bones were long since cleaned? Or merely an intruder, come into these darkspawn-filled wilds of mine in search of easy prey? What say you, Scavenger or intruder? 'Tis a tower no longer. The wilds have obviously claimed this desiccated corpse. I have watched your progress for some time. Where do they go, I wondered? Why are they here? And now you disturb ashes none have touched for so long. Why is that?
Don't answer her. She looks chastened, and that means others may be nearby.
Oh, you fear barbarians will swoop down upon you.
Yes, swooping is bad.
She's a witch of the wilds, she is. She'll turn us into toads.
Witch of the Wilds. Such idle fancies, those legends. Have you no minds of your own? You there. Women do not frighten like little boys. Tell me your name and I shall tell you mine. Now that is a proper civil greeting, even here in the wilds. You may call me Morrigan. Shall I guess your purpose? You sought something in that chest? Something that is here no longer?
Here no longer. You stole them, didn't you? You're some kind of sneaky witch thief.
How very eloquent. How does one steal from dead men?
Quite easily, it seems. Those documents are Grey Warden property, and I suggest you return them.
I will not, for 'twas not I who removed them. Invoke a name that means nothing here any longer if you wish. I am not threatened. 'Twas my mother, in fact. There is a sensible request. I like you.
I'd be careful. First it's, I like you, but then zap. Frog time.
She'll put us all in the pot, she will. Just you watch.
If the pot's warmer than this forest, it'd be a nice change.
Follow me then, if it pleases you. Greetings, Mother. I bring before you 4 Grey Wardens who...
I see them, girl. Much as I expected.
Are we supposed to believe you were expecting us?
You are required to do nothing, least of all believe. Shut one's eyes tight or open one's arms wide. Either way, one's a fool.
She's a witch, I tell you. We shouldn't be talking to her.
Quiet, Dareth. If she's really a witch, do you want to make her mad?
There is a smart lad, sadly irrelevant to the larger scheme of things, but it is not I who decides. Believe what you will. And what of you? Does your elven mind give you a different viewpoint? What do you believe? A statement that possesses more wisdom than it implies. Be always aware. Or is it oblivious? I can never remember. So much about you is uncertain, and yet I believe. Do I? Why, it seems I do.
So this is a dreaded Witch of the Wilds.
Witch of the Wilds, huh? Morrigan must have told you that. She fancies such tales, though she would never admit it. Oh, how she dances under the moon.
They did not come to listen to your wild tales, Mother.
True, they came for their treaties, yes? And before you begin barking, your precious seal wore off long ago. I have protected these.
You... Oh, you protected them.
And why not? Take them to your Grey Wardens and tell them this blight's threat is greater than they realize. Such manners. Always in the last place you look. Like stockings. Oh, do not mind me. You have what you came for.
Time for you to go, then.
Do not be ridiculous, girl. These are your guests.
Oh, very well. I will show you out of the woods. Follow me.
So you return from the wilds. Have you been successful? Good. I've had the Circle mages preparing. With the blood you've retrieved, we can begin the joining immediately.
There was a woman at the tower, and her mother had scrolls. They were both very odd.
Were they wilder folk?
I don't think so. They might be apostates. Mages hiding from the Chantry.
I know you were once a Templar, Alistair, but Chantry business is not ours. We have the scrolls. Let us focus on the joining. I will not lie. We Grey Wardens pay a heavy price to become what we are. Fate may decree that you pay your price now, rather than later. If only such secrecy were unnecessary, and all understood the necessity of such sacrifice. Sadly, that will never be so.
Let's go then. I'm anxious to see this joining now.
I agree. Let's have it done.
Then let us begin. Alistair, take them to the old temple.
The more I hear about this joining, the less I like it.
Are you blubbering again?
Why all these damn tests? Have I not earned my place?
Maybe it's tradition. Maybe they're just trying to annoy you.
I only know that my wife is in Highover with a child on the way. If they had warned me, it just doesn't seem fair.
Would you have come if they'd warned you? Maybe that's why they don't. The Wardens do what they must, right?
Including sacrificing us?
I'd sacrifice a lot more if I knew it would end the Blight. Don't we? The Grey Wardens have saved the world from darkspawn before. I'd say they know better than anyone what it takes. You saw those darkspawns tonight. Wouldn't you die to protect your pretty wife from them?
Maybe
you'll die. Maybe we'll all die. If nobody stops the darkspawn, we'll die for sure.
I've just never faced a foe I could not engage with my blade.
At last, we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge of annihilation. So it was that the first Grey Wardens drank of darkspawn blood and mastered their taint.
We're going to drink the blood of those creatures.
As the first Grey Wardens did before us, as we did before you. This is the source of our power and our victory.
Those who survive the joining become immune to the taint. We can sense it in the darkspawn and use it to slay the archdemon.
Not all who drink the blood will survive, and those who do are forever changed. This is why the joining is a secret. It is the price we pay. We speak only a few words prior to the joining, but these words have been said since the first. Alistair, if you would.
Join us, brothers and sisters. Join us in the shadows where we stand vigilant. Join us as we carry the duty that cannot be forsworn. And should you perish, know that your sacrifice will not be forgotten. And that one day, we shall join you.
Davith, step forward. Sorry, Davith. Step forward, Jory.
But I have a wife, a child.
There is
Had I known.
turning back.
No, you ask too much. There is no glory in this.
I am sorry. But the joining is not yet complete. You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden.
2 more deaths. In my joining, only one of us died, but it was horrible. I'm glad at least one of you made it through.
How do you feel? Such is what it takes to be a Grey Warden.
Did you have dreams? I had terrible dreams after my joining.
Such dreams come when you begin to sense the darkspawn, as we all do. That and many other things can be explained in the months to come.
Before I forget, there is one last part to your joining. We take some of that blood and put it in a pendant. Something to remind us of those who didn't make it this far.
Take some time. When you're ready, I'd like you to accompany me to a meeting with the king. The king is discussing strategy for the upcoming battle. I am not sure why he has requested your presence. The meeting is to the west, down the stairs. Please attend as soon as you're able.
Loghain, my decision is final. I will stand by the Grey Wardens in this assault.
You risk too much, Cailan. The darkspawn horde is too dangerous for you to be playing hero on the front lines.
That's the case. Perhaps we should wait for the Orlesian forces to join us after all.
I must repeat my protest to your fool notion that we need the Orlesians to defend ourselves.
It is not a fool notion. Our arguments with the Orlesians are a thing of the past, and you will remember who is king.
How fortunate Marek did not live to see his son ready to hand Ferelden over to those who enslaved us for a century.
Then our current forces will have to suffice, won't they? Duncan, are your men ready for battle?
They are, Your Majesty.
And this is the recruit I met earlier on the road? I understand congratulations are in order. Every Grey Warden is needed now. You should be honored to join their ranks.
Your fascination with glory and legends will be your undoing, Cailan. We must attend to reality.
Fine, speak your strategy. The Grey Wardens and I draw the darkspawn into charging our lines, and then?
You will alert the tower to light the beacon, signaling my men to charge from
To flank
cover.
the darkspawn, I remember. This is the Tower of Ishal in the ruins, yes? Well, who shall light this beacon?
I have a few men stationed there. It's not a dangerous task, but it is vital.
Then we should send our best. Send Alistair and the new Grey Warden to make sure it's done.
You rely on these Grey Wardens too much. Is that truly wise?
Enough of your conspiracy theories, Loghain. Grey Wardens battle the Blight no matter where they're from.
Your Majesty, you should consider the possibility of the archdemon appearing.
There have been no signs of any dragons in the wilds.
Isn't that what your men are here for, Duncan?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, the tower and its beacon are unnecessary. The
We
circle
will
of
not
Magi...
trust any lives to your spells, mage. Save them for the darkspawn.
Enough! This plan will suffice. The Grey Wardens will light the beacon.
Thank you, Loghain. I cannot wait for that glorious moment. The Grey Wardens battle beside the King of Ferelden to stem the tide of evil.
Yes, Cailan. A glorious moment for us all.
You heard the plan. You and Alistair will go to the Tower of Ishal and ensure the beacon is lit.
What? I won't be in the battle.
This is by the king's personal request, Alistair. If the beacon is not lit, Teyrn Loghain's men won't know when to charge.
So he needs 2 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch, just in case, right?
The tower is on the other side of the gorge from the king's camp, the way we came when we arrived. You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate and up to the tower entrance. From the top, you'll overlook the entire valley. We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair will know what to look for.
We soil our drawers, that's what.
If it does, leave it to us. I want no heroics from either of you. The battle is about to begin. Once I leave, move quickly. You'll have less than an hour. Stay with the Teyrn's men and guard the tower. If you are needed, we will send word. Then I must join the others. From here, you two are on your own. Remember, you are both Grey Wardens. I expect you to be worthy of that title.
Duncan, May the Maker watch over you.
May he watch over us all. The plan will work, Your Majesty.
Of course it will. The Blight ends here.
What are you talking about, man? Taken how?
The darkspawn came up to the lower chambers. They're everywhere. Most of them are nearly dead.
Then we have to get to the beacon and light it ourselves. His breath. What are these darkspawn doing ahead of the rest of the horde? There wasn't supposed to be any resistance here. Right, because clearly this is all just a misunderstanding. We'll laugh about this later. At any rate, we need to hurry. We need to get up to the top of the tower and light the signal fire in time. Cailan Loghain will be waiting for the signal.
Sound the retreat.
But what about the king? Should we not...
Do as I command.
Pull out! All of you, let's move!
your eyes finally open. Mother shall be pleased. I am Morrigan, lest you have forgotten, and we are in the wilds where I am bandaging your wounds. You are welcome, by the way. How does your memory fare? Do you remember Mother's rescue? The man who was to respond to your signal quit the field. The darkspawn won your battle. Those he abandoned were massacred. Your friend, he is not taking it well. All dead. Your friend has veered between denial and grief since Mother told him. He is outside by the fire. Mother asked to see you when you awoke. I do not mind. Take your time. I wonder at that myself, but she tells me nothing. Perhaps you were the only ones she could reach. I would have rescued your king. A king would be worth a much higher ransom than you. Who says I would ransom for coin? Gold has its uses, I suppose, but power buys far more. She turned into a giant bird and plucked the two of you from atop the tower, one in each talon. If you do not believe that tale, then I suggest you ask Mother yourself. She may even tell you. Only stragglers that are long gone. You would not want to see what is happening in that valley now. Are you sure you want me to describe it? I had a good view of the battlefield. 'Tis a grisly scene. There are bodies everywhere, and darkspawn swarm them, feeding, I think. They also look for survivors and drag them back down beneath the ground. I cannot say why. I do not know who this Loghain even is. Perhaps ask Mother of it. I agree. 'Tis time you speak with Mother, then be on your way.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive. I thought you were dead for sure. Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead on top of that tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean... But what do we call you? You've never told us your name?
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends? Daveth was right. You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that mean? I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not? If you know what is good for you, I suppose you should. All that I wish you to do is what you are meant to do. It has always been the Grey Warden's duty to unite the lands against the Blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking? If you think small numbers make you helpless, you are already defeated.
But we were fighting the Darkspawn. The king had nearly defeated them. Why would Loghain do this?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature. Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The archdemon.
It is said that long ago, the Maker sent the old gods of the ancient Tevinter Imperium to slumber in prisons deep beneath the surface. An archdemon is an old god awakened and tainted by darkspawn. Believe that or not, history says it's a fearsome and immortal thing, and only fools ignore history.
The throne? He's the Queen's father. Still, I can't see how he'll get away with murder.
You speak as if he would be the first king to gain his throne that way. Grow up, boy.
If Arl Eamon knew what he did, he would never stand for it. The Landsmeet would never stand for it. There would be civil war. I suppose. Arl Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Cailan's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
You have more at your disposal than merely old friends.
Of course! The treaties! Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves, mages, and other places. They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army to me.
So can we do this? Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army?
So you are set then, ready to be Grey Wardens. No, thank you. You are the Grey Wardens here, not I. Now, before you go, there is yet one more thing I can offer you.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl, and you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears. Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these 2 must unite Ferelden against the darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the blight. Even I
understand.
And you, Wardens, do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
Allow me to get my things, if you please. I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. 'Tis not far, and you will find much you need there. Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
You will regret saying that.
Dear, sweet mother, you are so kind to cast me out like this. How fondly I shall remember this moment.
Well, I always said, if you want something done, do it yourself, or hear about it for a decade or 2 afterwards.
Do you really want to take her along because her mother says so? I guess you're right. The Grey Wardens have always taken allies where they could find them.
I am so pleased to have your approval. Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
Well, there it is. Lothering. Pretty as a painting.
So you have finally decided to rejoin us, have you? Falling on your blade in grief seemed like too much trouble, I take it.
Is my being upset so hard to understand? Have you never lost someone important to you? Just what would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing.
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked. Yes, I know. I was just thinking.
No wonder it took so long, then.
Oh, I get it. This is the part where we're shocked to discover how you've never had a friend your entire life.
I can be friendly when I desire to. Alas, desiring to be more intelligent does not make it so.
Anyway, I thought we should talk about where we intend to go first.
This should be good.
I think what Flemeth suggested is the best idea. These treaties, have you looked at them? There are 3 main groups that we have treaties for. The Dalish Elves, the Dwarves of Orzammar, and the Circle of Magi. I also still think that Arl Eamon is our best bet for help. We might even want to go to him first. I can give you directions, if you like. He'll be at Castle Redcliffe, in the far western part of Ferelden, next to the mountain passes. If he isn't there, someone will be able to tell us where he is. If we head eastward, towards the Brazilian forest, We should hear word of one of the clans that wanders that area. Hopefully they will still be there. We would need to speak to their king in Orzammar. That means heading west into the Frostback Mountains, which won't be easy. Technically, the Circle of Magi is independent. We don't know that the Chantry won't support us, of course.
You truly believe that?
If we speak to the first enchanter, he should see that his responsibility to the Grey Wardens supersedes anything the Chantry or even Loghain might have to say about it. If he isn't out in the field with his army, he's probably going to be at the palace in Denerim. We can go to Denerim, but somehow I suspect that they're not going to let us just walk around. Only a suspicion, of course. Then you have a plan. Fair enough. Let's head into the village whenever you're ready. What do you need? You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did. I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the blight and everything. I'm sorry. I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of. I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him. Of course, I'd be dead then, wouldn't I? It's not like that would make him happier. I think he came from High Ever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just... That must have felt a lot like when I got sent to the Chantry. You mages don't even get a say in the matter after all. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little. I'd like that. So would he, I think. What do you need? Ask away. Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells. You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit. No, I never actually became a full Templar. Duncan recruited me before I took my vows. I was only present during one harrowing. That was all I needed, too. I don't know how anyone could get through that. The girl they tested, she had a demon put inside her to see if she could resist. And she couldn't. We had to end it quickly. I have to say I didn't have much interest in becoming a Templar after that. You'd think that, but it's not so. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together. Well, they do it, and they feel perfectly justified. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templar's talents more effective, or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me. What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands. Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here, but I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go. I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened, why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually, though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them, but that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us. I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away. Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky. I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was a good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking. What do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact. Oh, there you go, listening to me again. You'd think you'd have gotten past that already. I ended up in the Chantry, sure, but I didn't start there. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough. Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me. Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, He just stopped coming. And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Cailan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story. What do you need? Ask away. Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring. That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight. On confession day, we could go all night. Being a Templar isn't all about chasing men in skirts and hiding behind priests, you know. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring. You know, I like the way you think. But I guess if you're really curious, there's no harm in obliging. I have a couple of interesting-looking moles I can show you later, too, if you're interested. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Arl Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it. Using the abilities I have came after years of education and discipline that was difficult to achieve, if rewarding. The sword training and religious doctrine all came later. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home? It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way. I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now. Bad dreams, huh? Well, it is real, sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight. I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me too. That's what I'm here for, to deliver unpleasant news and witty one-liners. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on. Something on your mind? Not unless they were asking me for a favor. Well, there was that one time in Denerim, but those women were... not like you. Why? Is this your way of telling me you think I'm handsome? Oh, nothing much. I just get to grin a bit and look foolish for a while. At your service. Well, we're in camp. Now's as good a time as any to talk, right? You know, I was just thinking the same thing. Given the circumstances, things could have been so much worse. I'm so grateful that you're you, instead of some other Grey Warden. That sounded better in my head. I just mean to say that I can't imagine having done this without you. Now we just need to be rid of that pesky archdemon and everything will be back to normal, right? Look, can we talk for a moment? I need to tell you something. I should probably have told you earlier. I told you before how Arl Eamon raised me, right? That my mother was a serving girl at the castle and he took me in. The reason he did that was because my father was King Marek, which made Cailan my half-brother, I suppose. Maker's breath, I hope not. I don't think so. You don't think so, do you? I'm a bastard. And nobody even knows about me. I would have told you, but it never really meant anything to me. I was inconvenient, a possible threat to Cailan's rule, and so they kept me secret. I'd never talked about it to anyone. Everyone who knew either resented me for it or they coddled me. Even Duncan kept me out of the fighting because of it. I didn't want you to know as long as possible. I'm sorry. Oh, good. I'm glad. It's not like I got special treatment for it anyhow. At any rate, that's it. That's what I had to tell you. I thought you should know about it. Because it will probably come up. I didn't want to walk into Redcliffe without you knowing the truth. That would be just awkward. I have no illusions about my status, however. It's always been made very clear that I'm a commoner, and now a Grey Warden, and in no way in line for the throne. And that's fine by me. No, if there's an heir to be found, it's Arl Eamon himself. He's not of royal blood, but he is Cailan's uncle, and more importantly, very popular with the people. Though, if he's really as sick as we've heard, oh no, I don't want to think about that. I really don't. So there you have it. Now can we move on? And I'll just pretend you still think I'm some nobody who was too lucky to die with the rest of the Grey Wardens. The reason I think we have a chance of setting things right. At your service. Of course. You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden? You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, you'll see. Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret, it's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last, and my face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears. Really? Because I was watching you wolf down food the other day, and I thought, ooh, it's a good thing she gets a lot of exercise. I suppose it could affect women differently from men. I never asked. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you'd call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you? Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come. Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The taint, it's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition. We are all going to die. When Duncan told me, I was angry. He put his hand on my shoulder and said this: "It's not how you die that's important. It's how you live." And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it. You know, Duncan started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him. I know. Ending the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right? At your service. Of course. I didn't know them for very long, but I guess it was longer than you. You never met them all, did you? They were quite a group. Actually, they felt like an extended family since we were all cut off from our former lives. We also laughed more than you'd think. There was this one time... Well, you probably don't want to hear stories about men you didn't know. There was one Grey Warden who came all the way from the Anderfells. What was his name? Gregor. He was a burly man with the biggest, fuzziest beard you've ever seen. And the man could drink. He drank all the time, but he never got drunk. Finally, we all made a pool to see just how many pints it would take to put him under the table. Sometimes, we were kin of a sort. All of us had gone through the joining, so we knew... Well, anyhow, it doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Anyhow, we never did find out. He said he'd drink a pint for every half pint that the rest of us drank. He was still going by the time the rest of us were passed out. I'm told that Duncan walked in later on and saw us all passed out from one end of the hall to the other, and Gregor still drinking. Duncan laughed until he nearly... Until... Yes, I suppose so. I thought I was done with this, but it just struck me that I have nothing to remember Duncan by, nothing at all. There's no body, not even a token of his that I could take with me. That must sound really stupid to you. I just would have liked something of his to take with me, that's all. Well, there's no use in moaning about it, is there? He's gone. Let's just go. Yes? Of course. You never asked? All right. If you want the full explanation, I'll give it to you. The thing is, I'm used to not telling anyone who didn't already know. It was always a secret. Even Duncan was the only Grey Warden who knew. And then after the battle, when I should have told you, I don't know, it seemed like it was too late by then. How do you just tell someone that? I should have told you, anyway. It was important for you to know. I guess part of me likes you not knowing. They treat me differently. I become the bastard prince to them, instead of just Alistair. I know that must sound stupid to you, but I hate that it shaped my entire life. I never wanted it, and I certainly don't want to be king. The very idea of it terrifies me. For all the good it does me, my blood seems certain to haunt me no matter what I do. I guess I should be thankful that Arl Eamon is far more likely to inherit the throne. If he's alright. Oh, I hope he's alright. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I guess I was just hoping that you would like me for who I am. It was a dumb thing to do. I guess it's kind of a relief that you know now. Let's go. So, you're female, Leliana, right?
I am? That's news. When did that happen?
I just wanted some advice. What should I do if I think a woman is special and...
You want to woo her? Here's a good tip. You shouldn't question her about her femaleness.
Alright, yes, good point.
Why do you ask? Are you afraid things will not proceed naturally?
Why would they? Especially when I do things like ask women if they're female.
It adds to your charm, Alistair. You're a little awkward. It is endearing.
So I should be awkward? Didn't you just say not to do things like that?
Just be yourself. You do know how to do that, don't you?
Alright, forget I asked. At your service. Of course. Never what? Had a good pair of shoes? I'm not sure I do. Have I never seen a basilisk? Ate jelly ham? Have I never licked a lamppost in winter? Make fun of you, dear lady. Perish the thought. Well, tell me, have you ever licked a lamppost in winter? Good. I hear it's quite painful. I remember one of the younger initiates did it on a dare once, and there was pointing and laughing. Oh, the humanity. I myself have also never done it. That. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course, but, you know. Well, living in the Chantry is not exactly a life for rambunctious boys. They taught me to be a gentleman, especially in the presence of beautiful women such as yourself. That's not so bad, is it? Of course you are, and you know it. You're ravishing, resourceful, and all those other things you probably hurt me for not saying. Nor I, you. Let us be off then, lest your risque talk make my ears blush.
Have a care where your eyes linger, Alistair.
Yes, well, don't worry. It's not what you think.
I see.
I was looking at your nose.
And what is it about my nose that captivates you so?
I was just thinking that it looks exactly like your mother's.
I hate you so much.
What?
Never mind.
Hey, it's great to see you again. I was just thinking about you. Isn't that a marvelous coincidence? This is my sister, Goldanna. These are her children, and there's more about somewhere. We're one big happy family, at long last. I'm happier than I've been my entire life. Isn't that strange? I thought being a Grey Warden would make me happy, but it didn't. This does.
I'm overjoyed to have my little brother back. I'll never let him out of my sight again.
I don't think I'll be coming. I don't want to spend my life fighting, only to end up dead in a pit along with rotting darkspawn corpses.
Well, Alistair, is your friend staying for supper?
Say you'll stay. Goldanna's a great cook. Maybe she'll make her mince pie. You can, can't you?
Of course, dear brother. Anything for you.
How can you say that about Goldanna? She's the soul of goodness. You're acting really strangely. All right, if it makes you happy. It's a little fuzzy. That's strange.
Alistair, come and have some tea.
No, wait. I remember a tower. The circle. It was under attack. There were demons. That's all I really remember. Are you saying this is a dream? But it's so real.
Of course it's real. Now wash up before supper and
Something doesn't feel quite right here. I think I have to go.
He is ours, and I'd rather see him dead than free.
Goldanna? I can't believe it. How did I not see this earlier? Yes, well, try not to tell everyone how easily fooled I was. Are we going now? Wait, where are you going? What's happening to me? Hey!
What do we have here? A rebellious minion? An escaped slave? My, but you do have some gall. But playtime is over. You all have to go back now.
Oh, here I am. And there you are. You just disappeared. Well, no matter.
How did I get here? What happened to all those luscious wood nymphs?
You will not hold us, demon. We found each other in this place, and you cannot stand against us.
If you go back quietly, I'll do better this time. I'll make you much happier. Can't you think about someone other than yourself? I'm hurt. So very, very hurt. You wish to battle me? So be it. You will learn to bow to your betters, mortal.
Here, look at this. Do you know what this is? I picked it in Lothering. I remember thinking, how could something so beautiful exist in a place with so much despair and ugliness? I probably should have left it alone, but I couldn't. The darkspawn would come and their taint would just destroy it. So I've had it ever since. I thought that I might give it to you, actually. In a lot of ways, I think the same thing when I look at you. I'm glad you like it. I was just thinking, here I am doing all this complaining, and you haven't exactly been having a good time of it yourself. You've had none of the good experience of being a Grey Warden since your joining. Not a word of thanks or congratulations. It's all been death and fighting and tragedy. I thought maybe I could say something. Tell you what a rare and wonderful thing you are to find amidst all this darkness. I'm glad you like it. Now, if we could move right on past this awkward, embarrassing stage and get right to the steamy bits, I'd appreciate it. Oh? You're lost then. All the ladies go on and on about how suave I am. I don't know how you can resist me like you do. Oh look, is that a cloud? I expect rain. Now that we're back at the camp, I want to talk about what happened at Redcliffe. I just wanted to thank you. You went out of your way to save the Arl's family, and you did it. Even though it would have been easier not to. There's been so much death and destruction. It makes me feel good that at least we were able to save something. No matter how small. I owed the Arl that much. Good. Now that the warm, fuzzy part of the day is over with, we can get back to the ritual dismemberments. Oh wait, it's not Tuesday, is it? Why are you smiling like that? You look suspiciously like the cat that swallowed the pigeon.
Canary.
What?
I look like the cat that swallowed the canary.
I once had a very large cat, but not my point. My point is, why are you smirking?
You were watching her, with great interest, I might add. In fact, I believe you were enraptured.
She's our leader. I look to her for guidance.
Oh, I see. So what guidance did you find in those swaying hips?
No. I wasn't looking at, her hindquarters.
Certainly.
I glanced in that direction, maybe, but I wasn't staring. Or really seen anything, even.
Of course.
I hate you. You're a bad person. Oh, why, you little... Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look. Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. So, what would you do if someone told you that they loved you?
Check their eyesight first, perhaps. Is this someone I should know about?
No, I mean, pretend you're a woman.
I am a woman, Alistair. That shouldn't be too hard, but I'll give it a try.
Oh, that's not what I meant. Just pretend you're another woman. Someone told you that they loved you. How would you react?
Well, that depends. Does this someone just blurt it out? Do I love them back? I need context.
I don't know if you love him back. Maybe you do. You've spent a lot of time with this person.
Perhaps you need to wait for the right moment. You could get her alone in camp. Give her a gift, perhaps.
Oh, I wasn't talking about me. Just, forget I said anything.
As you wish.
Your desire is my command. Yes. Oh, you want to right now? Well, who am I to refuse? This is my mother's amulet. It has to be. But why isn't it broken? Where did you find it? Oh, the Arl study? Then he must have found the amulet after I threw it at the wall. And he repaired it and kept it. I don't understand. Why would he do that? I guess you could be right. We never really talked that much. And then the way I left. Thank you. I mean it. I thought I'd lost this to my own stupidity. I'll need to talk to him about this if he recovers from his... When he recovers, that is. I wish I'd had this a long time ago. Did you remember me mentioning it? Wow. I'm more used to people not really listening when I go on about things. Is this the part when the music starts and we begin dancing? Because I'm game. Where's the minstrels?
Alistair, may I have a word?
course. Anything for my favoritist mage ever.
It seems you and our fearless leader are inseparable these days. Joined at the hip, almost.
That's a bit of an overstatement, don't you think?
Well then, now that you're in an intimate relationship, you should learn about where babies really come from.
Pardon?
I know the Chantry says you dream about your babies, and the good Fade spirits take them out of the Fade and leave them in your arms. But that's not true. Actually, what happens is that when a girl and a boy really love each other...
Andraste's flaming sword, I know where babies come from.
Do you? Do you really?
I certainly hope so.
Oh, all right then. Oh, look, you're all red and mottled. How cute.
You did that on purpose.
Now, Alistair, why would I do such a thing?
Because you're wicked. That frail old lady act, I'm so not fooled. I'm onto you now.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? It's hard not to notice the doe-eyed looks he gives you, especially when he thinks no one's watching. It's almost too sweet for my tastes, and I'm an old lady who should be making lace hearts and fuzzy blankets with animal motifs. No, I won't be making socks with pom-poms for you anytime soon, but that's hardly my point. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Alistair is a fine lad, skilled in battle, but quite inexperienced when it comes to affairs of the heart. I would hate to see him get hurt. Not intentionally, no. But there is great potential for tragedy here, for one or both of you. You are both Grey Wardens, and he is the son of a king. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. That may be true, but he is still a Grey Warden. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
You know, maybe this isn't the best time to be thinking about this, but I've something to ask you. Chances are we'll be heading to Denerim soon. And when we're there, I wonder if we might be able to look someone up. I'm not talking about a friend, exactly. And no, it's not that sort of friend either. The thing is, I have a sister, a half-sister. I told you about my mother, right? She was a servant at Redcliffe Castle and she had a daughter. Only I never knew about her. I don't think she knew about me either. They kept my birth a secret after all. But after I became a Grey Warden, I did some checking and, well, I found out she's still alive. In Denerim. She's the only real family I have left. The only family not also mixed up in the whole royal thing. I've just been thinking that maybe it's time I went to see her. With the blight coming and everything, I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see her. Maybe I can help her. Warn her about the danger, I don't know. Could we? I'd appreciate that. If something happened to her and I never went to at least see her, I don't know if I could forgive myself. Her name is Goldanna, and I think she remarried but still lives just outside the alienage. If we're in the area, then, well, it's worth a look. Here. My love? Well, we're not exactly alone. What did you have in mind? Wow. You don't hold back on the hard questions, huh? I don't know where this is going. We have the blight to think of first, don't we? Everything else just seems so distant. Let's hope we have that option. This isn't really the time for this conversation. Please, let's just talk about this another time. That's my sister's house. I'm almost sure of it. This is the right address. She could be inside. Could we go and see? Will she even know who I am? Does she even know I exist? My sister. That sounds very strange. Sister. Oh, now I'm babbling. Maybe we should go. Let's go. Let's just go. Hello?
Hey, you have linens to wash? I charge 3 bits on a bundle. You won't find better. And don't trust what that Natalia woman tells you either. She's foreign and she'll rob you blind.
I'm not here to have any wash done. My name's Alistair. Well, this may sound sort of strange, but are you Goldanna? If so, I suppose I'm your brother.
My what? I am Goldanna, yes. How do you know my name? What kind of tomfoolery are you folk up to?
Look, our mother, she worked as a servant in Redcliffe Castle a long time ago before she died. Do you know about that?
You! I knew it! They told me you was dead. They told me the babe was dead along with mother, but I knew they was lying.
They told you I was dead? Who? Who told you that?
Them's at the castle. I told them the babe was the king's and they said he was dead. Gave me a coin to shut my mouth and sent me on my way. I knew it.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. The babe didn't die. I'm him. I'm your brother.
Ugh, for all the good it does me. You killed mother, you did, and I've had to scrape by all this time. That coin didn't last long, and when I went back, they ran me off. And who in the maker's name are you? Some elf to follow him about and carry his riches for him?
Hey, don't speak to her that way. She's my friend and a Grey Warden, just like me.
Oh, I see. A prince and a Grey Warden too. Well, who am I to think poorly of someone so high and mighty compared to me? I don't know you, boy. Your royal father forced himself on my mother and took her away from me. And what do I got to show for it? Nothing. They tricked me good. I should have told everyone. I got 5 mouths to feed. And unless you can help with that, I got less than no use for you.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Yes, it really seems that way, doesn't it? I wasn't expecting my sister to be so... I'm starting to wonder why I came.
I don't know why you came either, or what you expected to find. But it isn't here. Now get out of my house, the both of you.
I agree. Let's get out of here. Well, that was not what I expected, to put it lightly. This is the family I've been wondering about all my life. That shrew is my sister? I can't believe it. I guess I was expecting her to accept me without question. Isn't that what family is supposed to do? I feel like a complete idiot. Such as... the only person who ever cared about me was Duncan, and he's gone. Thank you. I'm glad you came with me. Let's just go. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Look, before we go any further, I want to say something. I appreciate that you brought me to see my sister, and that you were there to talk me down after we left. You're a true friend, and I love you. I just wanted to tell you that. Well, now that that's out of the way, I guess I really don't know how to ask you this. How do I say this? You think it would be easier, but every time I'm around you, I feel as if my head's about to explode. I can't think straight. Well, I hope you mean the head exploding thing in a good way. Here's the thing. Being near you makes me crazy. But I can't imagine being without you. Not ever. I don't know how to say this another way. I want to spend the night with you, here, in the camp. Maybe this is too fast, I don't know, but I know what I feel. Especially because of that. You know, according to all the sisters at the monastery, I should have been struck by lightning by now. Meaning it was so great that the Maker himself has decided to spare me the usual punishment, right? Right. Oh. You do realize the rest of our little party here is going to talk, right? They do that. Oh sure, now you say that. By tomorrow it'll be icy glares and awkward silences right before battle. Just you watch. So, what now? Where do we go from here? Right, I can handle that. I hope. Before we go, have I told you that I love you? I did. Well, it won't kill you to hear it again, will it? See? Was that so hard?
I do wonder, is it permissible for 2 Grey Wardens to... what is the word I search for?
Caboodle?
Fraternize.
What's wrong with fraternizing?
It seems most undisciplined for an organization that claims it will do whatever is necessary to end the darkspawn threat.
One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Oh no? And what if a Grey Warden was forced to choose between the warden he loved and ending the blight? What should his choice be?
That is a ridiculous question.
And I have my answer. Most kind of you.
So, you and Alistair, together, looking contented. You even have a glow about you. So shameless. So, how is Alistair? You know what I mean. Alistair and you, those long nights. He must be quite delightful. You wouldn't be so happy otherwise, I think. He's athletic. That's always nice. He is also good at following instructions, isn't he? Ooh, fascinating. The little templar is all grown up and apparently he plays well with others.
What are you giggling about? What is she giggling about? I don't really believe you, but I don't want to find out either. Hello?
Hello.
Are you serious?
So, are you a very religious man, Alistair? I'm curious. I believe I heard you say you were raised in an abbey.
I was raised in a castle. I was schooled in the abbey. As far as being religious, I don't know. Not especially. What about you? Not in your line of work, I expect.
Oh, why do you say that? I happen to be quite devoted in my way, as most Antivans are.
Truly? But you kill people for money.
And I ask forgiveness for my sins from the Maker every chance I get. What manner of monster do you think I am?
But you ask forgiveness and then you go right on with your sinning.
The Maker has never objected. Why should you?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go. Perhaps you ought to think about asking for a little forgiveness yourself, huh?
I think you make her very happy.
Oh, not this again. I'm ready this time.
I just wanted to say that this was something good for both of you. Being a Grey Warden isn't easy. I'm glad you found each other.
Oh, yes, I bet you are indeed.
Cherish this. It may not last.
And?
That's all I had to say.
Really? No pinching my cheeks? No making me blush?
Of course not. I like you, Alistair. You deserve to be happy.
Not even pinching my cheeks a little?
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. He seems less guarded when in your company, allows himself to relax, and he seems genuinely happy. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
Tis a bit sickening.
The little Templar is all grown up, and apparently he plays well with others.
Mm-hmm. He must be pleasant enough in bed, for surely I cannot imagine anyone enduring his conversation. Oh, that does not look good.
Will you look at that?
Half of us aren't getting any sleep, the way you two carry on all night.
I do not think I will recover from this quickly.
Might I offer you a bit of advice, my good friend Alistair?
I like my hair the way it is, thank you.
Truly, as you wish. Though my advice is regarding something else completely. It has to do with your recent exertions with your fellow Grey Warden that I overheard.
Oh.
It did seem as if you just got going when all grew quiet. You are feeling all right, yes? Perhaps you're tired.
We aren't talking about this, are we? Did I hit my head?
I have some roots from home that you may chew if you need energy. As for volume, perhaps you ought to try arching your...
Whoa. Awkward.
You Fereldans are so finicky. How will you ever learn how to pleasure each other unless you talk about it?
Not listening. La 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 la. My love? Well, we're not exactly alone. What did you have in mind? Oh, but what about our audience? You don't think...
I've seen it a time or two. I won't gawk, trust me.
Well, all right then. You're awake. Did you feel it too? It was like the archdemon saw us. Saw us! What does that mean? I think... Wait. Did you hear that? My love? Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? I thought we were already being extra careful. Does that mean we have to be extra careful now? Great. There I was enjoying my nap. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
Alistair, are you all right?
Oh, they left him here to rot. We need to do something. He was a good man who hoped too much and died too young. He deserves what little honor we can afford to grant him.
Denerim is the heart and soul of Ferelden. It was the city of King Cailan had, the birthplace of Andraste. As stubborn as a Mabari, and as good to have on your side. If we defeat Loghain here, the rest of the nation will follow us. By calling the Landsmeet, I've struck the first blow. The advantage, for the moment, is ours. He will have little choice but to show himself, to oppose us directly. He will strike back at us. The only question that remains is how soon. Loghain, this is an honor that the Regent would find time to greet me personally.
How could I not welcome a man so important as to call every lord in Ferelden away from his estates, while a blight claws at our land?
The blight is why I'm here. With Cailan dead, Ferelden must have a king to lead it against the darkspawn.
Ferelden has a strong leader. Its queen. And I lead her armies. And who is this, Eamon? Some new stray you picked up on the road? And here I thought it was only royal bastards you played the nursemaid to.
Well, you're admitting the royal part. That's a start.
You should curb your tongue. This is my city, and no safe place to speak treason. For anyone. There is talk that your illness left you feeble, Eamon. Some worry that you may no longer be fit to advise Ferelden.
Illness? Why not call your poison by its true name? Not everyone at the Landsmeet will cast aside their loyalties as easily as you and these sycophants.
How long you've been gone from court, Eamon? Don't you recognize Rendon Howe, Arl of Amaranthine, and Terran of Highever?
And current Arl of Denerim, since Urien's unfortunate fate at Ostagar. The Regent has been generous to those who prove loyal.
Don't interrupt, Churl. Your betters are talking.
Enough, Calthrian. This is not the time or place. I had hoped to talk you down from this rash course, Eamon. Our people are frightened. Our king is dead. Our land is under siege. We must be united now if we are to endure this crisis. Your own sister, Queen Rowan, fought tirelessly to see Ferelden restored. Would you see her work destroyed? You divide our nation and weaken our efforts against the Blight, with your selfish ambitions to the throne. Cailan depended on the Grey Warden's prowess against the darkspawn, and look how well that ended. Let us speak of reality rather than tall tales. Stories will not save us.
I cannot forgive what you've done, Loghain. Perhaps the Maker can, but not I. Our people deserve a king of the Theron bloodline. Alistair will be the one to lead us to victory in this blight.
Oh, is that all I have to do? No pressure.
The Emperor of Orlais also thought I could not bring him down. Expect no more mercy than I showed him. There is nothing I would not do for my homeland.
Well, that was bracing. I didn't expect Loghain to show himself quite so soon. My sister married King Merrick while he was still in exile. At that time, he and Loghain were inseparable. The wild prince who'd never seen the inside of a castle and the farmer's son. When Loghain joined Merrick's rebels, he was just a raw-boned boy. But he got on one knee to swear that he would see Ferelden free or die trying. He made us a free people once more. You can't know what it was like to grow up as a vassal in your own land, while poncy little Orlesians minced around in their silks. I would never have believed he would do anything but what was best for Ferelden. We need eyes and ears in the city. Loghain has been here for months. The roots of all his schemes must begin here. The sooner we find them, the better we can turn them to our advantage. Go have a look around and see what you can turn up. Better yet, find the nobles who have arrived for the landsmeet. Test the waters. See how many will support us. When you're ready to talk strategy, come upstairs to my sitting room. We can lay out our plans for the landsmeet then.
Warden, in the name of the Regent, I am placing you under arrest for the murder of Rendon Howe and his men-at-arms. Surrender, and you may be shown mercy. Don't be ridiculous. The Queen isn't being held prisoner here or anywhere else. Her father would never stand for such a thing.
What? Sir Calthrian! Praise the Maker you're here. This brigand tried to kidnap me.
Unbelievable. Bring them down! Loghain wants the Warden dead or alive!
Eamon, I may have done a terrible thing.
Happen to me? What's this? She throws her savior to the wolves, and now she has second thoughts?
What in Andraste's name has happened? Are you all right?
The Wardens have been captured.
What? How could this happen?
Never mind that. The question is how to free her.
Surely you mean them, Your Highness. We need Alistair too.
Yes, of course, I meant Alistair too. Calthrian will take her to Fort Draken. Getting in will be no small feat.
Oh, you're awake. I was starting to worry. I've been worse. I'll be better still when we get out of here. I hope you have a plan. So I'm guessing someone told Honora I was planning to steal her throne. She has a nasty glare. Did anyone mention this wasn't my idea? I think she's a great queen. As far as I'm concerned, she's welcome to it. I'm not a political man. I like being a warden. There's real evil out there, and it's something we can fight. It's something we can defeat. Making laws, settling disputes, that's not me. I wouldn't have the first idea how to do it. What do you think I should do? Go ahead and be king, just to let it happen? Good plan. We could go to Orlais, live in sin, and eat cake until the darkspawn finally catch up to us. Cursed darkspawn! It's just that everything I've heard about Queen Honora is that she's the one who really ruled here, not Cailan. She's smart, tough, determined. Well, I feel a bit like Cailan's substitute. I think I'll be better off against the darkspawn. All right, Alistair, enough whining. Thank you, Alistair. That's excellent advice. I'll do my best. About the whining? I know. Someone really needs to slap that one around. This shield. It's Duncan's, isn't it? That's his crest. Thank you. Truly, I had no idea his shield wasn't with him. This is perfect. I don't know how else to express my gratitude. This means a great deal to me. I can't believe you remembered it at all. I'll treasure this. Thank you. I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask? How about Ogren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least. Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. For a drunk, he's an excellent warrior, right? How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow? Maybe a little. That doesn't stop the question from being relevant. Just answer the question. Oh, you're killing me here. Really? Why? That's a lot of trust to put in someone who tried to kill you. Well, if you are, then maybe I should too. But that doesn't mean I won't keep an eye on him. He's just too shifty. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big. The more I talk to him, the more reasonable he does seem. His philosophy is so strange. But it doesn't sound at all as vile as the Chantry describes it. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you? I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Qunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Leliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision? That's one way to put it. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life. Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan, do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said. Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all. Why, do you? Great. I am thrilled beyond words. Now, really. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we? Before I forget, I need to say something. When Arl Eamon said I was going to be king, I thought, that's it. Your worst fears have finally been realized. But you didn't make me king. And Loghain still got what he deserved. Everything worked out, thanks to you. She was already queen. Easiest oath I ever made, let me tell you. Anyway, I imagine there's more important things you want to discuss. My love? Well, we're not exactly alone. What did you have in mind? Oh, but what about our audience? You don't think...
I've seen it a time or two. I won't gawk, trust me.
Well, all right then.
It is a relief to see you unharmed. And you as well, Alistair. The darkspawn that attacked Threadcliffe were relatively few in number, I'm afraid. It was assumed the Horde was marching in this direction, but that is not true.
Riordan tells us that the bulk of the Horde is in fact heading towards Denerim. They are perhaps 2 days away from the capital.
How certain are we that this is good information?
I ventured close enough to listen in, as it were. I am quite certain.
Word has been sent, but they need more than warning. They need our armies.
There is, I'm afraid, one other piece of news that is of even greater concern. The Archdemon has shown itself. The dragon is at the head of the Horde. Make her preserve us.
And we won't be able to reach Denerim within 2 days.
We must begin a forced march to the capital immediately with what we have. Denerim must be defended at all costs.
Perhaps not. But what is important is that we know where the Archdemon will be. If we do not defeat the Archdemon, it will not matter if Denerim is saved or the Horde defeated. And only the Grey Wardens can defeat the Archdemon. That is why we must go.
Then we march. And hope the army collected here gives you the chance you need. Arl Eamon, how long before the army can set out?
By daybreak, Your Majesty.
Then give the order. The longer we delay, the longer Denerim will be at the mercy of the Horde.
I was wondering that myself.
Then you don't know. Of course not. You're both new recruits Duncan wouldn't have expected.
I will give the orders at once, and will notify you the moment we are ready to march.
Excellent.
Perhaps you and Alistair should meet me before you retire for the evening. There are things we need to speak of.
I will have someone show you to your rooms. I suggest you all get some rest while you can. We will need it.
You're both here. Good. Please know I assumed you had already been told. Otherwise I would have told you this when you freed me in Denerim. I'm sorry.
What is it? What are you apologizing for?
Tell me, have you ever wondered why the Grey Wardens are needed to defeat the darkspawn? That is exactly what it involves. The Archdemon may be slain, as any other darkspawn, but should any other than a Grey Warden do the slaying, it will not be enough. The essence of the beast will pass through the taint to the nearest darkspawn and will be reborn anew in that body. The dragon is thus all but immortal. But if the Archdemon is slain by a Grey Warden, its essence travels into the Grey Warden instead. A darkspawn is an empty, soulless vessel, but a Grey Warden is not. The essence of the Archdemon is destroyed, and so is the Grey Warden.
Meaning the Grey Warden who kills the Archdemon dies?
Yes. Without the Archdemon, the Blight ends. It is the only way. In Blight's past, when the time came, the eldest of the Grey Wardens would decide which amongst them would take that final blow. If possible, the final blow should be mine to make. I am the eldest, and the taint will not spare me much longer. But if I fail, the deed falls to one of you.
If it comes to that, I am willing to take the blow. Why not? You said yourself that you don't want to, and this way Honora gets to be queen again. Everyone is happy.
If we do not stop the Blight here and now, it will destroy all of Ferelden before the Grey Wardens elsewhere can assemble. Remember that. But enough. There will be much to do tomorrow and little enough time to rest before it. I will let you return to your rooms.
I will see you once the army is ready to march then. I guess this ends soon. One way or another.
That it does, my friend. That it does. There is no other way. I'm sorry.
Do not be alarmed. It is only I. I am well. 'Tis you who are in danger. I have a plan, you see. A way out. The loop in your hole. I know what happens when the Archdemon dies. I know a Grey Warden must be sacrificed, and that sacrifice could be you. I have come to tell you that this does not need to be. I offer a way out for all the Grey Wardens, that there need be no sacrifice. A ritual, performed on the eve of battle, in the dark of night. Perhaps, but that price need not be so unbearable, especially if there is much to be gained. All I ask is that you listen to what I have to offer, nothing more. What I propose is this. Convince Alistair to lay with me, here tonight, and from this ritual, a child shall be conceived within me. The child will bear the taint, and when the Archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The Archdemon is still destroyed with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Alistair despises me. You know this. He rarely listens to reason, but he would listen to you. You, of all people, could influence him. Think about what I offer you. You will live, as will Alistair. You could slay the Archdemon and live as a hero, something no Grey Warden has ever done. In return, I conceive a child, one who will be born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. This is what my mother intended when she sent me with you. She was the one who first gave me this ritual and told me of what I was meant to do. This does not surprise you, does it? Did you not wonder why Flemeth saved your life? Why she aided you? This is why. What is important is that I am offering this to you now. It will work, and it will save your life. As you wish. Allow me to say that what I seek is the essence of the old god that once was, and not the dark forces that corrupted it. Some things are worth preserving in this world. Make of that what you will. I do not wish to tell you. The child will represent freedom. For an ancient power, a chance to be reborn apart from the taint. Is that not reason enough to do it? I will raise the child apart from the rest of society and teach it to respect that from which it came. Beyond that, you need know nothing else. I have no doubt he may, but he will not. It is all I ask for in return. Then you have decided? If you care for him as you seem to, you will convince him to. Consider what the alternative might be. If Riordan fails, do you think Alistair will hesitate? He will die the hero of Ferelden, Marik's son, and you will be forgotten. I think you have many good reasons to tell him to save his own life. I think you should consider them carefully. Even if I thought Riordan could be convinced, he is unsuitable. I need one who has not been tainted for long. It must be him, and it must be tonight. A wise decision. I shall wait here then while you go and speak with Alistair. I urge you to be convincing.
I see you can't sleep either. I also saw Morrigan outside your room earlier, and the look she gave me. Ooh, that was icy even for her. Is something up? Not really. All these men look at me and I see it in their eyes. No blight has ever been defeated with so little cost. But now you're changing the subject. I'm tired, but I'm not stupid. Oh. I guess whatever Morrigan had to say, it's big. What did she want? Could you make it sound more ominous? Tell me already. You mean with the archdemon, right? Well, I already said that I'll take the blow if Riordan can't. So you don't need to worry about it. Is that what you wanted? What is this about? Oh, something Morrigan cooked up, no doubt. What do you need me to do? Cute. This is payback, right, for all the jokes? But you're not joking. You're actually serious? Wow. Be killed by the archdemon or sleep with Morrigan. How does someone make that kind of choice? You're not actually asking me this, are you? What kind of ritual is this, anyway? What? I must be hearing things, but are you telling me to impregnate Morrigan is some kind of magical sex rite? This child, why would Morrigan want such a thing? Why am I not surprised? Look, even if I was willing to entertain this idea, and I'm not saying I am, is this really what you want me to do? Are you sure? All right, I do trust you, and I'll do it. Oh, where is she? Let's go and get this over with before I change my mind.
'Twould seem your talk is done.
Great, so this isn't a dream after all.
What is it to be, then? Has a decision been reached?
Oh, you know, dinner would have been nice. Maybe a bit of wine. Or you could knock me out first.
Tempting. Still, I am glad to see that it has been done. Let us go somewhere more private, Alistair, and believe me when I say you will not hate this quite so much as you believe.
Doing better than I hoped.
That will change quickly.
Bloody nug runners. We're outnumbered 3-1.
What are we to do now, Riordan? You have a plan, I assume?
The army will not last long, so we need to move quickly to reach the Archdemon. I suggest taking Alistair and no more than 2 others with you into the city. Anyone you don't bring with you can remain here to prevent more darkspawn from entering Denerim on our tails. We're going to need to reach a high point in the city. I'm thinking the top of Fort Draken might work.
The top of... You want to draw the dragon's attention?
We have little choice, though I warn you that as soon as we engage the beast, it will call all its generals to help it. I can sense 2 generals in Denerim. You may wish to seek them out before going to Fort Draken.
I am sure that if we did slay those generals, it would stop the darkspawn in the city from doing a lot of harm.
It may also waste resources trying to find them. The decision is up to you. Neither of them are near Fort Draken currently, but there are too many darkspawn here to tell you more. There are already several units of our allies within the city by now. They may be able to come to your assistance if you call them, but their strength will be limited. Now, who do you wish to take with you into the city? Fair enough. Anyone else will need to remain here and assist in keeping more darkspawn from coming in the gates behind us. Who will lead them?
Very likely.
Good. That should be sufficient. Nothing you have done has prepared you for what you face now. May the Maker watch over you.
So this is it then. All that we've been through has led up to this. Whatever happens now, to either of us, know that I am proud, infinitely proud, to have called you friend. Farewell, and may the Maker watch over you.
So, this is it. Honor? Nobody's looked at me and seen honor in a long time, Warden. You took in a drunken disgrace of an Orzammar warrior. You gave me a reason to fight, and the will to keep going. You helped me find the one woman in the sodding world who might put up with me. And you helped me get past Bronca so I could have someone new. I owe you a lot, Warden. I consider it a fine honor to die for you and your cause. Then it's sodding honor for everyone. That's war for you. Let the stone turn red from the blood of heroes. Today, I will be the warrior you taught me to be.
Are you ready? We have reached the battlefield at last. I have done nothing. You have carried us this far. Do not doubt that.
So this is it? This is the end? We've come so far. It's strange knowing that all our fates will be decided in a matter of hours. We stand on the precipice before the greatest battle of our age. I wonder if the heroes of old ever felt like this. I am not afraid. We go to fight for a good cause, and there is nowhere else I would rather be. You are a dear, dear friend, and I will stand with you to whatever end. This day, we will forge a legend of our own.
So now we head into the city together to face the Archdemon, Good. I was nearly afraid you were about to march inside without me. We cannot have that. Let us go and teach this dragon a lesson, yes? It should have stayed in whatever hole it crawled out of.
After all that, I will not be going with you? I would still see this to the end, but so be it. Let us part ways now. You go your way, to your destiny, and I go my way, to mine. I did not know what it meant to have a friend once, but you I would gladly consider such. Go, slay your archdemon. Live gloriously, my friend.
So, this could be it. Soon this will be finished. One way or another. And I love you. Always. So, we made it. I'm impressed, aren't you? I was so scared that I might lose you. But here you are. And here I am. Not bad, right?